So this is what Chad and I both had in our homes growing up. They were always a staple. We could always count on them. We always had this, at least, in our home.
Maybe not all of it. Maybe not all of it.
At the same time.
At the same time, but at least we had a couple of these items that we could find something to eat.
He has thought it would be fun to do a video on what we did when we were kids, and we were desperate for something sweet to eat.
We didn't always have a lot to eat, and as any normal kid, we had sweet tooths, but there was never any good things around the house to eat.
Well, as 6 kids, if your mom did keep any candy in the house, it was gone that fast.
It was gone pretty quick, and split between 6 of us, you didn't get much. So I had a childhood friend, Brent, and he liked coming to my house, and I was always embarrassed because we didn't have much to eat, and we'd get up on the cupboards and we'd walk around looking up in the cupboards trying to find something to eat. We found some chocolate one time, a chocolate bar, a pretty good sized one, and tried that, and oh, we were so disappointed. It was cooking chocolate, come to find out. It was
I've done that myself, and I've been so desperate. I've dipped it in sugar trying to make it sweet. And yeah, baking chocolate is not the best.
No, but I'm just looking for something that I would like, and he's right behind me, and he's seen what I'm seeing in the cupboards, and we come across a bag of marshmallows and a box of raisins, and he says, "Oh, the mother lode," you know. And I looked at it and I thought, what? Marshmallows and raisins? Yeah, his parents never bought marshmallows and raisins right away, or he had a great taste for them. But I thought, yeah, okay, yeah, you can have all the raisins you want because we don't like raisins.
So then you go to his house.
And so I like going to his house, especially Saturday mornings or on the evenings where they had cereal for dinner. And they always had...
They'd have cereal for dinner?
Oh, yeah, every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we.
But they would, he'd have all the sugared cereal, frosted corn flakes and those kinds of things. And we never did. We had oatmeal and Cheerios and Wheaties. So it was always fun to go to his place to eat sugared cereal. Okay.
All right, Chad, what are you going to put together for me out of these? Oh, and by the way, Chad and I both grew up with homemade bread. Yeah. And so when our moms would buy, it would be sliced bread. My mom would buy Wonder Bread, you know, with the little circles all over it.
Red and blue balloons.
That was a treat. Okay, make me something. I'm starving. Okay. Make me something.
So one of my favorite things to make when I came home from school for lunch, everyone else would eat lunch at school, and I lived close enough to school that I'd walk home for school. I'd come home and I would make a chocolate chip sandwich. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily sound real good, but it's a peanut butter, it's toasted bread with peanut butter and chocolate chips, and I'll show you how we made them.
Okay.
Okay, so now, do you like crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
I've learned to like the crunchy. We grew up with the smooth.
Yeah,
but I always buy the crunchy because you like it.
My dad liked the crunchy. Okay, so you put on the peanut butter, handful of chocolate chips. Okay, so now it's not ready yet. So now push that back together, put it back on this, and you put the non-peanut butter side down first and turn the toaster back on for a few more.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm sure our kids have heard some of these stories, maybe, but I don't ever remember seeing them make it, so I don't think that we actually
I don't think you taught them about it enough.
Very much at all, but you just leave that there for, 15, 20 seconds, or however long you want or don't want.
Let's see, is it melted?
Oh, and
just peek.
It's getting there. Okay, so if we were lucky and we could find a banana, you could add a banana to that.
Well, you didn't teach our kids this, Chad.
I don't think we...
No, you didn't, but our grandkids can learn to do it.
But our grandkids can have this treat. But there you go. Peanut butter, chocolate chip, and banana sandwich. Okay, this is another one that's really quick and easy. We always had a lot of peanut butter around the house. My dad loved peanut butter, and so there was never, hardly ever, a time that we didn't have peanut butter. So,
right.
Spoonful of peanut butter.
Yeah.
And some honey.
Okay.
And you just mix it together.
Your dad
And
our families must have been a lot alike, because
I'm
was
sure.
your dad didn't do that. That was my grandpa that did that.
you just mix that up. And if we didn't have any bread, that was okay. And then we'd take, and we did this with Tupperware, little bowls of Tupperware, because they were really small and we could hide them from our parents. I don't know why we insisted on hiding it from our parents, but that would just make a nice little gob of peanut butter and honey, and off to bed we would go. And for the next hour or two, we'd sit there and take a finger.
Well, your mom knew you did that.
Oh yeah. And then we would lick that bowl completely clean of any peanut butter or honey. There'd be no trace of it, or at least we thought. And then at the end of the night, I'm sure at some point, that piece of Tupperware would roll off the bed, underneath on the side of the bed. And growing up, I had 4 brothers, and we had beds. It was a triple bunk bed, so there's 3 beds stacked up, and so it would eventually find its way to the wall and back underneath the bed. And we'd clean our rooms about once a month, do a deep cleaning, find all sorts of dirty socks and underwear, and always 2 or 3 little pieces of Tupperware that had mold that was starting to grow in it.
Mold and lint.
Oh yeah, they were dirty, and it was just disgusting, but we'd try and get those back to the kitchen before Mom could find them. But that was the second treat, peanut butter and honey little mixture.
I had the nicest lunch ladies at school, because they would make that, and they made the biggest, fattest, hottest, nicest rolls ever.
Oh.
And they'd put a clump of that on the tray, and your rolls, and school lunches in our day were good, but you had to go home for lunch.
Yeah. I probably could count the number of times I ate lunch at school on one hand.
I did.
Yeah, so not often.
Okay, what you cooking now?
Okay, this was another lunchtime favorite, and I don't know what we called it. We just called it eggs and toast, and I think I mean there are several names for it now. Eggs in a cave. I don't think we put this in our family cookbook. We probably should have done, because it's really easy, that even kids can cook it themselves. And so, and again, all it is something very simple. It had to be simple if high school kids were going to be cooking and eating this themselves. And so, piece of bread, something to cut a hole in the middle of the bread, and an egg. And an egg.
Don't judge me.
Yeah. So do you get rid of your egg shells?
I always put them back in here.
Or do you keep them in the carton?
And I get teased ruthlessly for that.
Okay. That way you can tell if the pan's hot enough to start cooking. And this is important. Lots of butter.
So So you do both sides.
Yeah, you butter both sides
Both sides.
of your bread. Cut the hole and put that in the oven to cook. That's actually my favorite part. So you cook that. Okay, now this little medallion here, you use that to kind of test and see how well your bread's doing. So it's easier to turn that over and see versus turning this over
So
too
you know
soon.
that's the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you use that kind of as a guide as to when you want to turn your bread over. So
Well, I would say it's pretty close.
yeah, I think it's any time now. But this is where it's critical. It could be a really nice toast and egg delight, or it becomes scrambled eggs and bread.
Okay. Well, da 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 da. Whoa!
That's a little bit well done, but that's okay. I like mine just a little bit more on the done side than on the raw side. Okay, so then you grab your medallion and your egg.
Hey. He's been tricking me. He can take care of himself just fine.
Well, if I have to, but I have to resort back to my childhood recipes that I'm very familiar with.
You've been holding out.
We don't have any ketchup, do we? As a kid, we dreaded the Tabasco sauce because that was usually, my dad loved it, but anytime I saw it was typically involved with some colorful farm language.
For discipline.
But it was always good to have just a drop or two on that there to give it some flavor, and this here was always the best part, at least to me, was to lots of butter, a little bit of salt and pepper, and your egg.
I'm going to start off where Chad left off, and that is my grandpa. He would use equal parts butter and peanut butter and honey, and he would mix that up. It would be a lot looser than this because he didn't use I don't think he used the
peanut.
And so he would love that, and he would actually, you're gonna love this, he would actually fill his glass and he would break the bread up in the glass and he would drop a big old chunk of that in his glass, or a big chunk of jam. And so us kids loved it too. So I like bread and milk in a glass. Love it. And I know that your dad liked this also. And that is your dad. And so would we, but I know Grandpa Griffiths loved this. He would take his peaches like this.
Well, and we always had peaches.
Always had peaches.
Always had jars and jars, dozens of jars of peaches.
And he would put a glob right in the center of that.
Yep.
But when I was a kid, we always had cottage cheese in the fridge. My mom kept a lot of cottage cheese around, and we would put cottage cheese in our peaches like that. So that was always a staple. If we didn't have anything else to eat, we knew we had peaches and peanut butter. And I know another thing that you used to like to do, that I used to like to do. And that is, if there was no bread, if there was no bread in the house, we would take our crackers and we would have to butter them like this and fill those little holes right there so that when you put the honey on, and you always had crackers, we always had crackers in the house, and so when you put the honey on, it does not
drip through the holes.
That was important.
Yeah. The first couple times, I'm sure you put the honey on the crackers,
Drip through
and it dripped through down the thing, and so you ended up putting butter.
Yep. Thank you for watching, everybody. And if nobody enjoys this movie, maybe our grandkids will.
And our kids will think,
how come you never told us
how come we never heard those stories when we were growing up? Well, because we didn't want to tell you all of our secrets.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.